Here we are for heat race number 1 out of 4. Shrimp Engrits, your provisional pole sitter, starts first with Allison Figueroa alongside. Row number 2 is filled with Ryan Bolden and Bobby Frazier. Row 3, Jake Stavanaugh and Sebastian Van Dalen. Row 4 is Hu Ji-yeon and William Duncan. And row 5 is Mark Nutt and Jeffrey Finguy. 25 laps ahead of us to decide part of our starting lineup for the main event at Knoxville. Pace car is going to pull in here. Engrits, your provisional pole sitter. His position doesn't matter as long as he can see the checkered flag in his heat race. Figueroa and the rest of them are all going to be fighting to start 5th place in the main event. Green flag is out. 25 laps in heat race number 1 at Knoxville. And immediately a great start from Ryan Bolden, who jumps down to the bottom in the number 7 car for the lead. The Jack Daniels Tennessee Honey, number 7, underneath Shrimp Engrits. Bolden leads us. Ryan Bolden leads, exit of turn number 2 for the first time, and man has he needed something like this. This is the first time we've seen Ryan Bolden out in front of a field of any kind in quite some time. They've struggled this season. They're way down in the points from where they want to be. But right now, that Embleton Honshu car looks fast. Jake Stavanaugh looking for second already. Hu Ji-yeon and Mark Nutt cutting underneath. The inside lane here is oh so important these early laps as the cushion starts to build in. Stavanaugh takes second away from Engrits. Reigning champion Mark Nutt catches teammate Engrits for third now as Hu Ji-yeon tries to build up that cushion on the high side on the top. Look at Jeffrey Finguy in the 92. Bobby Frazier was on the second row. He's fallen back to 9th. Sebastian Van Dalen's fallen all the way to the back. But Bolden is absolutely flying out front and has pulled out to a nearly 1 second lead already. It is over a second now after only 5 laps out of this 25 lap heat race. Engrits cuts back underneath Stavanaugh for the second position now. Here comes Finguy on Mark Nutt. William Duncan trying to climb up the order. We know Maverick's short track program is not that great, and if there's any track that is closest to a short track, but not actually, it's Knoxville. It is a short track, but it's not. It's a dirt track. As Bobby Frazier now attacks the Season 2 champ, your winner at Nazareth, really struggling to start off this heat race and has fallen all the way to the back, just ahead of Sebastian Van Dalen, who has made 0 forward progress. And the driver that his team boss has proclaimed a wunderkind has just made 0 progress at all. But I mean, I guess that is to be expected eventually in someone's rookie season, especially if they're doing well. As Hu Ji-yeon gets into Bobby Frazier, almost turning him off at turn number 2. And even so, Van Dalen cannot mount a charge, as Engrits has taken second place back from Jake Stavanaugh. Bolden is absolutely flying. Almost a 2-second lead now, after 11 laps of running. It might actually be a 2-second lead now. Not quite. William Duncan cuts underneath the 98 of Allison Figueroa to try and crack into the 6th position now, as Sebastian Van Dalen has overtaken the 49 of Hu Ji-yeon for 9th place. Jeffrey Finguy under pressure from 5th now from William Duncan. Your Willow Springs winner, making forward progress after a poor qualifying and a poor start. Stavanaugh still trying to keep a healthy gap to Engrits here. He doesn't have to do too much work though, because that is going to be easily 9th place in the main event if he can just stay in 3rd. Does not look like he's fast enough to catch Bolden, who is absolutely bolted out of here. Figueroa on Finguy for the 6th position now. Frazier up in the mix. Gian has re-overtaken Sebastian Van Dalen after that close call with Frazier earlier. Bolden takes 10 laps to go. Engritz, Stavinaugh, Nutt, Duncan, your top 5. Gian underneath Frazier now. Maybe she's starting to develop a bit of a long run car as this race progresses. Figueroa underneath Finguy for 6th place, trying to complete the pass, and will do so as Finguy tries to run up on the cushion, but so far it has not come in like they would want it to right now. Bolden has extended the lead out to 2.5 seconds now, with 8 laps to go. It's good to see Ryan Bolden running well. He's absolutely deserved it after the hardship that team has been through the last couple seasons. And he himself has not seen a checkered flag in quite some time, so even though it's not going to count for a race win, I think he'll still be happy to see one, even if it is a heat race. Engritz in 2nd place. Nobody is making time on Ryan Bolden, as Alison Figueroa cuts underneath William Duncan to get back into the top 5, and Hu Ji-yeon's forward progress is not stopping yet, as she gets underneath Jeffrey Finguy to clear for the 7th position, and that 49 car is starting to make some serious forward progress. As Ryan Bolden approaches 5 laps to go here at Knoxville Raceway. 5 to go for the championship contender from back in Season 1. And yeah, Van Dalen, like I was saying, every single track type he's driven on so far, he's excelled at. He's learned extremely quickly, but it just doesn't look like that dirt track type is really mixing with his skill set at the moment, or he just has not figured something out yet. Last place comfortably for the 81. Figueroa attacking Mark Nutt for the 4th spot now, and Hu Ji-yeon attacking William Duncan for 6th. These are crucial positions. Every single spot you gain or lose in these heats is 4 positions you lose on your starting position in the main event. Almost 3.5 seconds out front for Ryan Bolden. Figueroa right on the wheel tracks of Mark Nutt, coming to the white flag this time. It'll be 1 lap to go for Ryan Bolden. Here comes Hu Ji-yeon underneath William Duncan for 6th place. But meanwhile, it was never in doubt from when he took the lead on lap number 1. Ryan Bolden wins heat race number 1 and starts the main event from 5th. Engritz will secure that provisional pole position into a real pole position. Congratulations to him on his 3rd pole of the season. Jake Stavinaugh, Mark Nutt, Alison Figueroa. Hu Ji-yeon steals William Duncan's 6th place on the last lap. Jeffrey Finguy, Bobby Frazier, and Sebastian Van Dalen, your top 10. And that will set the starting order for the first heat of 4. Ryan Bolden wins heat race number 1. Let's get to the next one. Heat race number 2 of 4 here at Knoxville Raceway. Jeff McLennan said the 2nd fastest time in qualifying to put him provisionally on the front row for the main event. Sean Angel alongside him. Elijah Innes and Ryan Reed, the championship leader, make up row number 2. Mitchell Carter and Eugene DeMax make up row 3. Row 4, Daniel Giroux and DJ Curtis. And rounding out the back of the grid, Tristan Wilhoit and Ray Takeda. We saw a bunch of battles in heat race number 1, and we can expect to see more of that here in the 2nd. Let's get to the start. Pace car pulls in. Jeff McLennan out front alongside Sean Angel. We're underway in heat race number 2. Green flag on the air. 3 wide already. Elijah Innes and Ryan Reed cut underneath Sean Angel, and the championship leader gets into a higher provisional starting position than 2nd in the championship now. Reed gets through on his title rival, but now is stuck battling on the high side of Elijah Innes, as McLennan, unlike Engritz in heat race number 1, is able to bolt away to keep the lead in the opening 2 laps of this race. Elijah Innes trying to clear for 2nd, but you can see that cushion Starting to work a bit with Reed on the outside. But now he's stuck 3 wide with Season 4 champ Tristan Wilhoit, cutting underneath Mitchell Carter and the point leader Ryan Reed. Off at turn 4, Wilhoit trying to clear into that 3rd position now underneath Reed, aiming for Elijah Innes. Three wide through the middle for Ryan Reed. What a risk taken by your championship leader. Ultimately does not end up working. He has to fall back in line behind Wilhoit, but Tristan Wilhoit brute forces his way through on Elijah Innes to take 2nd place away, but immediately Ryan Reed tries to cut underneath the 17 car at the end of the 5th lap, as just like in heat race number 1, this time it's Jeff McLennan out front, but the gap over a second after only 5 laps of running. Almost a second. Ryan Reed has cleared into 2nd place now, ahead of Tristan Wilhoit, and is now setting his sights on chasing after Jeff McLennan out front. It's a Maverick 1st and 3rd, and we saw some strong pace from William Duncan in heat race number 1. Maybe they might have a bit of a stronger package this weekend compared to most other short tracks, and it might just be the fact that it's a dirt track that makes it different enough. DJ Curtis and Eugene DeMax bringing up the rear of the field. Season 3 champ DeMax has never been one to star on the ovals most of the time, and a track like this really does not suit his more road course and street course style of racing. Look at Sean Angel, 2nd in the championship coming into this weekend. Cannot find the speed, cannot find the consistency in this heat race, and he's all the way back in 2nd to last through the first 9 laps of this race. As Ryan Reed has cut and erased the advantage of Jeff McLennan out front, and goes down the inside for the lead. As he starts to nose ahead on the exit of turn number 2, and Ryan Reed, 10 laps into the race, takes the lead from Jeff McLennan. Now McLennan, I'm sure, was not fighting that very hard. He knows he's locked into 2nd place in the main event without DNFing this heat. But Ryan Reed looks like he wants it. He didn't even have to take that position, but he took it anyways. And now out front is the number 90 JDRF Ford for Roush Racing Enterprises. Tristan Wilhoit has now caught McLennan for 2nd place. Daniel Giroux has climbed up to 4th, and I was just talking about how Eugene DeMax did not look to have any speed tonight in this heat race, but he's up into 5th, having passed every car in his path. But immediately, the driver who battled him for the victory in Watkins Glen earlier this season, Ray Takada, right there with him. And with the speed we saw Hu Ji-yeon show in the 1st heat, maybe the Hyundais have something tonight. Could be interesting. Sean Angel making some forward progress as well from the back. He's up into 7th. He's still miles behind race leader and championship rival Ryan Reed out front. But it is positive progress nonetheless, as Ray Takada clears Eugene DeMax for that 5th position down the back straightaway and into turn 3, and the 50 car moves up into the top 5. And like I said in the 1st heat, every single position gained or lost in these heat races is 4 positions on the starting lineup of the main event. Reed, 10 laps to go now. In the lead of this event, still by 1.6 seconds over Jeff McLennan, as Tristan Wilhoit seems to have realized he does not have the speed to go track that 90 car down, but knows that if he just sticks with teammate Jeff McLennan, he's not going to get caught for 2nd place, or at least it's going to be really hard for the two of Daniel Giroux to get up there and do it. Eugene DeMax cutting back underneath Ray Takada for that position to try and take 5th back. They look pretty evenly matched back up here, as it looks like DJ Curtis is struggling hard. About the same role that Sebastian Van Dalen played in heat race number 1, and is falling off the back of the field now, and seems to be relegating himself to an easy 38th place starting spot for the main event. Reed, with 7 laps to go now, 2 seconds ahead of Jeff McLennan, who's still right with teammate Tristan Wilhoit. Giroux gapping away from the midfield. And now DeMax starting to escape Takada, who's under pressure from Sean Angel in the 58. She uses that cushion on the top side, though, to hang on to the position. McLennan still in the lead, though. Nope. Ryan Reed still in the lead, though, as he's crossed the line once more to take 5 laps to go. And even though he hasn't led since the first lap, just like Ryan Bolden in heat race number 1, he's absolutely pulling away. There has to be something in the water in Arlington, Texas, because both Ryans from Arlington, Texas have absolutely blitzed these heat races tonight and are going to start on the same row together, currently on the 3rd row of the grid provisionally. 4 to go. Now 3 to go. McLennan still just biding his time. He knows he doesn't have to do anything crazy. Neither does Wilhoit. Wilhoit knows that's not a position gained in the starting grid for him if he makes this pass. Sean Angel finally gets through on Ray Takeda for 6th place, and every single position he's able to recover is a crucial 4 positions he won't have to make up in the main event. Mitchell Carter with one of his strongest qualifyings of the entire season up to date, not showing as much pace in the heat race as we begin the final lap of this second heat. Ryan Reed rounding through 3 and 4, and by 3.5 seconds, Ryan Reed wins heat number 2 at Knoxville and locks in 6th place in the main event, as Jeff McLennan finishes 2nd and holds on to his 2nd place provisional in the main event. Tristan Wilhoit's 3rd, Daniel Giroux, Eugene DeMax hangs on to a top 5, Sean Angel, Ray Takeda, Mitchell Carter, Elijah Innes, and DJ Curtis, the running order in heat race number 2. But it was Ryan Reed out front, and he never looked back after taking it on lap number 10. Ryan Reed wins heat number 2. Let's get to the 3rd one. Welcome back for heat race number 3 of 4 here at Knoxville Raceway. Yuki Tamura qualified 3rd in our group qualifying session to lock herself into provisional P3 to start the main event. Daniel Voiles alongside of her. Row 2, Arnie Nugroho and James Gibson, with Logan Hill and Patrick Smith in the 3rd row. The 4th row, 2 Rocket Atkinson teammates of Chonarong Wongsuwat and Jake Stevens. And the final row, Brandon Krasta and last season's Knoxville winner, Kyle Bisceglia, only mustering 39th place in our group qualifying session. Let's hope, for his sake, that was a bit of a race setup more than a qualifying setup. 25 laps once more to decide the 3rd quarter of our starting lineup for the main event. Yuki Tamura on pole. Let's get to the start. Pace car pulls in. Tamura out front of Daniel Voiles, Nugroho, Gibson, and Hill. The rest of your top 5 were underway in heat race number 3. Tamura leads us through 1 and 2, and just like in heat race number 2, the pole sitter gets out to the first position by the exit of turn 2 and keeps it. Logan Hill underneath Nugroho for that 2nd spot, and he's going to get it. Clearing through, as look at Brandon Krasta in the 63. The driver who has been last in points since about the 4th race of the season, and your season 1 champion, looking strong on the opening couple laps here in the Knoxville 3rd heat race as he's up into 5th. Down to the bottom, 3 wide, is Kyle Bisceglia, clearing James Gibson, clearing teammate Patrick Smith, and now looking on Chonarong Wongsuwat in the 08 to go for another position. And in 1 lap, Kyle Bisceglia has just cleared 3 cars on his pursuit to the front of the field. Jake Stevens looks to have had a rough start. He's fallen to the back and maybe playing the same role that both his teammates Sebastian Van Dalen and DJ Curtis in heat race number 2 played in their respective heats. Bisceglia on Krasta now for the 5th position. From last place starting, Bisceglia is already up the order looking for 4th on Nugroho. This 27 car is flying, and just like I said in the pre-race portion of this event, Bisceglia seems to have had more of a race pace setup on his car than a qualifying pace setup as he goes for 3rd on the 45. Tamura still out front in the 60, but she has not made a getaway in the first 2 heat races. The race leader was already a second ahead by the time we completed lap number 5. It was only 6/10 this time. Tamura leads Voiles. Hill, Bisceglia, and Nugroho your top 5. Tamura has looked strong this season. She's been a bit anonymous some weeks, but she's ended up being more consistent than the others around her so far. Tamura now still leading, but still only by 3/4 of a second. Voiles appears to be inching closer a little bit. Hill, Bisceglia, and Nugroho, they're all keeping relatively close pace-wise with the overall pace of the 60 of Tamura. And in fact, Voiles is bang on the exact pace of the 60 of Tamura now. Matches up with her. Crossed the line that time. Cut the lead down by a 1/10 for Daniel Voiles, as we're now 10 laps through here in heat race number 3. We might have some competition on our hands, but for Voiles' sake, it's not going to matter if he goes up and catches the 60 of Tamura here. Five and a half tenths now. The gap shrinks even further as Wangzawat possibly attacking Nugroho for the 5th position, and Gibson and Smith putting on a show towards the back end of the field. And a struggling Jake Stevens not finding anything so far. Ten laps to go for Yuki Tamura, and the gap has shrunk down to nearly 4/10 as Daniel Voiles inches closer. The top 4 have all seemingly stayed within that. It's not a close gap per se, but it's all less than 2 seconds between the 4 of them, as we start 9 to go now with Tamura out front. Krasta has overtaken Patrick Smith as well for the 8th position, and it's obvious there's 2 different setup directions going on at the Van Dalen Autosport camp, with Kyle Bisceglia on the charge in the early laps, having stagnated a bit in 4th, but the real pace of that 27 is there nonetheless. Tamura in the lead though, still pulling the gap a little bit back out on Daniel Voiles here, who seems to be struggling towards the end of this heat, and Logan Hill appears to be inching closer to that 13. Jake Stevens appears to be in a league of his own in terms of the wrong direction. That 18 car has fallen off the pace, and overall it's just not been a good night in terms of heat racing for the Rocket Atkinson cars. The only shining star at the moment is 6th place in heat number 3 for Chanarong Wangzawat, but even then, that is still bottom half of the field. But with 2 of their cars finishing, at the moment, about to finish dead last in 2 of the 3 heats so far, that is just not what they would be looking for. But I guess, to be expected, a touring car team does not have any data for running on a dirt track per se in America. 5 laps to go, coming to 4 now for Yuki Tamura, who has now pulled a monstrous gap out of nowhere on Daniel Voiles and is starting to run away with it. That golden spark, number 60. Just trying to extend the gap just a little bit farther. Voiles in 2nd place, 1 second back. Krasta's caught Gibson for 7th place. A bit of an uneventful heat in terms of the first 2 heats action-wise so far. But Yuki Tamura takes 2 laps to go to try and absolutely cement her third place starting spot in the main event. White flag in the air for Yuki Tamura. 1 lap to go in heat race number 3. Voiles in second with Hill in third. Everybody bar Krasta and Gibson appear to be set in stone positions for the rest of this race, and Krasta's peeking underneath the 75, but as we go around through there, off a turn 4, Yuki Tamura wins heat number 3 at Knoxville. Voiles in second, Hill in third, Bishelia 4th, Nugroho 5th, Wongzawat 6th, Gibson holds off Krasta for 7th, Patrick Smith and Jake Gibson all the way back 9 seconds back in the 10th spot. Tamura not only gets to maintain her third place in the main event, she wins heat number 3. Nobody else was able to catch her. Tamura wins heat number 3. Let's get to the 4th and final heat here at Knoxville. And now for the 4th and final heat race at Knoxville Raceway tonight. Mitchell Mark put it 4th place in group qualifying to lock in his provisional position for the main event. Roberto Crown Jr. in the 46 alongside. Row 2, Chris Dodd and Scott Roush. Row 3, Alex Constantine and Chris Louviere. Row 4, Aiden Shepard and Fabio Vitabassa. And row 5 is Cale Tescar Jr. and Alex Benyako. We saw a lot of action in the first 2 heat races, less so in the third. Let's see what we're going to get in heat race number 4. Pace car is in. Mitchell Mark and Roberto Crown Jr., the front row. And we're green in heat race number 4 at Knoxville. And immediately into 1 and 2. Mitchell Mark clears the 46 of Crown Jr. to take the lead, but Chris Dodd cutting underneath the number 28 for the lead into turn 3. Can't convert it though. Mitchell Mark's going to lead lap number 1 of heat race number 4 as Alex Constantine, who almost did not even get a competitive lap in qualifying before finally putting one down in the dying moments, is up to 3rd immediately and is attacking Chris Dodd for the 2nd position already. Mark unable to bolt away off the start, and Constantine cuts underneath to try and go chase after Mark. Underneath Dodd, your season opener winner at Canadian Tire. Constantine noses ahead, tries to clear for that position and does. Now goes for the lead on Mitchell Mark. That 64 car looks just as strong as it did in the opening few short track races earlier this season. Mitchell Mark out front though. End of lap 4. The rest of the running order is very competitive out there. Alex Benyako tried to go 3 wide with Roberto Crown Jr. and Scott Roush, but the 6 car looks incredibly strong. And dropping to the back is Vitabassa in the 0-2. Mark out front after 5 laps, and it's the smallest margin for the lead after 5 laps in any of these heat races so far. Roush is up to 3rd, Benyako is up to 4th, and Chris Dodd, struggling now, has fallen back to 5th and is under pressure from his Alliance teammate, Roberto Crown Jr. But look at Chris Louviere in the 83, cutting underneath. The Speedway ringer at Maverick. Down the front straightaway, alongside. And through. Side by side, Benyako on Roush for 3rd place as Alex Constantine has caught Mitchell Mark for the race lead at the end of lap number 8. One of the short track aces of this season looks to not be fazed by the concept of a dirt surface, and he's right up to the back of the 28 now. Mark, the man who has won 2 different big speedway races this season, is under some immense pressure here. Through 1 and 2, the gap's still almost even between the 2 of them. In heat number 2, we saw a change of lead on lap number 10. We're already past that point. But Constantine is not letting the 28 of Mark go, and honestly, at this point, if I'm Mitchell Mark, I would just let him go. There's no position to be lost. There is a position to be lost, however, if you get turned. Mark, though, almost looks like he turned on the afterburners and actually just started pushing really hard to get away from the 64. Almost like a grudge match out front, as Alex Bignacco and Scott Roush continue to fight for that third position. We're just past halfway in heat race number 4. Regardless of whether or not Constantine can pass Mark or not, that will be 8th place starting spot in the main event. And the best you could possibly get without a DNF from Mark. Still pretty steady between the top two, but now Mark seems to be pulling a bit of a gap out as Roush takes third back from Alex Bignacco. As Cale Teskar Jr. and Aiden Shepard have dropped to the back of the field now in relation to the rest of them. 4.5 tenths. Mark to Constantine, then 1.4 back to Scott Roush and Alex Bignacco. Nine laps to go this time, as Crown Jr. goes underneath Louviere for that 6th position and is going to squeeze ahead on the exit of turn number 2 for that spot. Mark not getting away from Constantine per se, but now Constantine not being able to get past the 28 is going to start affecting him here shortly, because Scott Roush is actually making some sort of an inroads on these top two. Cut it down to a second now. Do you start to get urgent here? Try to make moves. Constantine cuts the gap down a little bit. Vita Bassa gets through on Louviere for 7th place, and after a slow start, he's climbed his way up into P7. Constantine switches lanes. And I think that was the wrong call. Completely missed the line and slid up to the cushion. As we come to 5 to go, Scott Roush is attacking for 2nd. 5 to go for Mark. Roush now all over the bumper of the 64 of Constantine. And remember, every position gained or lost is a loss or gain of 4 positions for the main event. So it is actually important to fight for everything you've got to keep your position. As Roush cuts underneath the 64 of Constantine for 2nd place. We know those Roush Racing Enterprise cars have been so strong on the short tracks all season. It's been a thing we've been ringing into your guys' ears all year. But it's proving true again and again every single time we come to one of these events. And with 3 laps to go, Scott Roush takes 2nd from Alex Constantine and goes to chase after Mitchell Mark. 2 to go for Mitchell Mark. Looking for a 3rd checkered flag on the air, even if it's not going to count towards the tally. You always love to see that checkered flag as a race car driver, even if it's a 2-lap dash for charity. The white flag falls. Mitchell Mark, 1 lap to go in heat race number 4. To set the final portion of our starting lineup for the main event at Knoxville. Through 3 and 4. Mitchell Mark rounds turn number 4. Constantine attacks Roush all the way to the line, but Mitchell Mark wins heat race number 4. Roush 2nd, Constantine 3rd, Bignacco, Dodd, Crown Jr., Vita Bassa, Louviere, Teskar, and Shepard, your running order in heat race number 4. But no one, even though they kept it close the whole race, was able to put an inch into Mitchell Mark's advantage. And thus, Mitchell Mark wins heat race number 4. That has set the starting lineup now officially for the main event for 200 laps at Knoxville. Congratulations to all the respective winners of their heat races. But let's now get to the main event at Knoxville Raceway.